The village has gone quiet, but one dog will not stop barking. Between two wooden houses, something catches the moonlight. Not white cloth, not an animal's eyes, a human outline, black and shining as if rain cannot cling to it. The figure lowers itself beside a fence. Someone calls out. It moves, fast and almost silent, leaving only a frightened description. A man covered from head to foot in oil. In Malay, Orang Minyak means oily man. The name belongs to one of Malaysia's most unsettling folk figures, a creature whose supernatural versions are difficult to separate from stories of very human predators. Tonight we will trace the legend through oral storytelling, community rumor, alleged attacks, and the fierce competition of 1950s Malay cinema. We will not treat folklore as evidence, and we will not turn violence against women into spectacle. The central question is darker than whether a monster exists. What happens when a community gives fear a body? The name is unusually direct. Orang means person or man. Minyak means oil. Unlike a ghost defined by a place of death or a creature with elaborate anatomy, the Orang Minyak is recognized by a surface, glossy black skin, or a body deliberately coated in dark grease. That coating has a practical logic inside the story. It hides the figure in low light and makes him difficult to seize. Some tellers describe a naked man. Others describe a demon, a cursed human, or a practitioner of forbidden magic. These are variants, not a single official biography. The word itself does not prove whether the figure is human or supernatural. It keeps both possibilities open. That ambiguity is the engine of the legend. A shadow at a window can be supernatural in one retelling and criminal in the next, while the same oily silhouette remains. One branch of the folklore presents the Orang Minyak as a man pursuing supernatural power. In popular retellings, a bargain or ritual requires him to commit terrible acts before the promised ability becomes permanent. Another branch makes the oil itself enchanted, allowing escape or concealment. A third removes magic almost entirely. The intruder is a human criminal using grease as camouflage and to slip from anyone who catches him. These explanations are not interchangeable facts. They reveal what each storyteller wants the danger to mean. The magical version warns against ambition without moral limits. The criminal version warns that a frightening figure may still be an ordinary offender. The cursed version allows pity to sit beside horror. None provides verified evidence of supernatural power. What they share is a body made hard to identify, and therefore easy for rumor to enlarge. Many Orang Minyak stories say the figure watches, abducts, or sexually attacks women. That element requires care. A video about folklore must not use sexual violence as decorative horror, and a supernatural label should never distract from the possibility of a human perpetrator. When an allegation concerns assault, the responsible priorities are the safety and dignity of the person harmed, preservation of evidence, and investigation, not proving a legend. Rumor can make neighbors more alert, but it can also expose survivors to gossip, blame, or disbelief. It may encourage people to search for an impossible monster while overlooking a known offender. The folklore matters because communities repeat it. The harm matters because it can be real whether or not any supernatural account is true. Keeping those categories separate is essential. Imagine the path of a rumor. Someone hears movement behind a house. A second person remembers a dark figure near the road. By morning, the stories have joined. A location is named, then a time, then a pattern. People patrol with torches. Doors are reinforced. Every dog bark begins to sound like confirmation. This does not mean the community is foolish. In uncertain conditions, sharing warnings can be rational. But repetition also changes memory. Details that fit the known legend survive. Details that do not fit may disappear. The oily body becomes a template placed over unrelated events. Folklorists and communication researchers study this social life of stories because legends are not static museum objects. They circulate, adapt, and help groups negotiate danger. The Orang Minyak does not need to appear physically for the name to organize how a neighborhood sees the night. Oil gives the legend an unusually physical texture. It reflects light, but also seems to swallow detail. It suggests machinery, labor, medicine, cooking, ritual, pollution, and the residue of something that should not be touched. On a human body, it erases ordinary markers: clothing, skin tone, occupation, even identity. The figure becomes both visible and unreadable. Oil also changes the imagined encounter. A witness cannot hold the intruder. A footprint may smear. A surface may carry a dark trace. These are storytelling advantages, not forensic conclusions. The material makes escape plausible and contamination memorable. It turns fear into something that can stain a wall or shine on a shoulder. Unlike a transparent ghost, the Orang Minyak feels heavy, wet, and close enough to leave evidence, while always slipping beyond certainty. The legend reached a remarkable cinematic peak in 1958. The Asian Film Archive notes that 3 Malay films about the figure appeared in the same year. Cathay Carey's released Orang Minyak, Malay Film Productions released P. Ramlee's Sumpah Orang Minyak, and Cathay Carey's followed with Serangan Orang Minyak. The rush shows both audience appetite and intense studio competition in the Malay film industry centered in Singapore. The archive describes Cathay Carey's film as preceding P. Ramlee's by only weeks. A familiar oral figure had become valuable screen property. Cinema fixed the oily silhouette in light, gave it actors and motives, and allowed audiences across Malaya and Singapore to encounter one visual form of the legend together. Folklore did not disappear. It acquired close-ups, music, studio publicity, and sequels. Sumpah Orang Minyak, directed by and starring P. Ramlee, does more than place a monster in a village. Its central figure is a marginalized man offered transformation, only to lose what he has gained and enter a destructive bargain. The Asian Film Archive summarizes the result as a deal with the devil followed by escalating atrocities. That structure gives the cinematic Orang Minyak a tragic origin without excusing his crimes. Desire for beauty, status, and acceptance becomes corrupted into entitlement and violence. The film's supernatural logic belongs to fiction, but its emotional materials are recognizable. Humiliation, resentment, temptation, and the disastrous belief that suffering grants permission to harm others. P. Ramlee's version became especially influential because it gave the black silhouette not only movement, but motive and a moral fall. Black and white photography was ideal for the oily man. The creature could disappear into deep shadow, then flare under a hard lamp. A reflective shoulder or cheek became enough to announce his presence. Film also solved a problem that oral legends leave open. How should the Orang Minyak move? On screen, crouching, climbing, pursuit, and struggle turn the slippery body into choreography. Music can warn the audience before a character knows danger is near. Editing can make the figure appear to cross impossible distances. None of this documents an actual encounter. It demonstrates how a medium manufactures certainty. The camera shows a body where a spoken account offers only a glimpse. Once audiences have seen that body, later rumors may borrow its posture and shine. Cinema does not merely record folklore, it teaches people how to picture it. The 1958 films arrived as Malaya moved through the first year after independence. It would be too simple to claim that the Orang Minyak represents one national anxiety, but the timing places the screen figure inside a rapidly changing society, expanding towns, new institutions, modern media, and continuing village memory. Later retellings carry the creature into housing estates, campuses, tabloids, television, comedy, and online posts. The setting changes while the basic outline remains portable. An oily intruder can inhabit a wooden house, an alley, a stairwell, or a viral message. This adaptability is common to enduring legends. They do not survive by preserving every detail. They survive by offering a recognizable name for new uncertainty. Each generation finds a different dark corner in which the shine might appear. A warning says, "Something happened. Take reasonable care." A moral panic goes further. It turns scattered or poorly verified reports into a thread imagined as organized, expanding, and symbolic of a wider social decline. The Orang Minyak can move between these states. A local report may encourage lights, companionship, and attention to suspicious behavior. But sensational repetition can also produce vigilantism, false accusation, or pressure to explain every incident through the legend. The difference is evidence and proportion. Are reports independently confirmed? Are descriptions consistent? Are authorities investigating real offenses? Are alleged victims being protected from publicity? Asking those questions does not insult tradition. It prevents tradition from becoming a substitute for accountability. Fear is socially powerful, which is exactly why it must be handled with care. Return to the shine between the houses. The Orang Minyak now carries several layers: a folkloric creature, a magician in a cautionary tale, a cinematic antihero, a rumor that maps community fear, and a possible disguise placed over human crime. These layers should remain distinct. A film is not evidence. A claimed sighting is not proof of magic. A legend can warn, entertain, and preserve cultural memory, but it can also hide the people who need protection behind the image of a monster. Perhaps that is why the Orang Minyak remains so disturbing. Oil removes familiar identity without removing the human shape. The figure is not safely ancient or impossibly distant. He crouches at the border between the supernatural and the criminal. If the dark silhouette is only a man, the legend becomes less magical, but the danger may feel much closer.